Hello everyone, welcome back to JIKOOK Moments. BTS's Toronto Day 2 concert truly brought so many interesting moments between Jimin and Jungkook. From the soundcheck session to the main performance on stage, their little interactions repeatedly caught the attention of fans. Their glances, smiles, time spent together, and simple acts of care for each other made the night feel even more special. So, without further ado, let's take a look together at the sweet moments between Jimin and Jungkook during Toronto Day 2. We'll start with the soundcheck session. As they entered the stage area, Jimin was seen walking slightly ahead while Jungkook followed behind. Not long after, a small interaction immediately caught everyone's attention. Jungkook appeared to point toward Jimin, and the two turned to look at each other before slowly moving closer. Jimin then walked toward Jungkook, while Jungkook took a few small steps backward as if he were dancing. But even while moving backward, Jungkook's attention remained focused on Jimin. His expression as he looked at Jimin was absolutely adorable. He smiled, laughed softly, and seemed to genuinely enjoy that simple little moment. When the concert began, Jungkook's attention toward Jimin once again became one of those things that was hard to miss. During one part of the performance, Jungkook appeared to catch the drone camera and immediately directed it toward Jimin. He even changed the camera's direction to capture Jimin from different angles. It was almost as if, at that moment, his focus was completely on one person. Throughout the concert, Jimin and Jungkook were also seen several times in the same area and moving closer to each other. At one point, they were even seen on a carousel ride, although only briefly. But as always, even their shortest interactions somehow felt special to fans. One of the most interesting parts, of course, happened during Idol. Jimin and Jungkook were seen standing very close to each other several times. Jungkook came from the back, while Jimin naturally walked toward him. It almost felt as though they always knew where to go whenever they were near each other. Jungkook even seemed as though he had been waiting for Jimin. When they finally stood next to each other, their interaction once again became the center of attention. At one point, Jungkook moved closer to Jimin and sang toward him while Jimin stood very close beside him. In one moment, Jimin even appeared to hold onto Jungkook and didn't immediately let go of his hand. Their little interactions continued throughout the performance. When Jimin was in front and Jungkook was behind him, Jungkook was seen turning toward Jimin several times while he danced. He even seemed to follow some of Jimin's movements. They walked forward together, and once again, Jungkook appeared to follow Jimin, as if enjoying the same rhythm and energy. There was also a moment when Jimin was singing while Jungkook stood nearby. Their expressions truly caught everyone's attention. Jungkook even appeared to make a heart gesture before walking toward Jimin. A simple gesture like this may have lasted only a few seconds, but it was enough to make fans smile. When they sat together, Jungkook seemed to make room for Jimin. Not long afterward, the two were once again sitting side by side, laughing and talking in the middle of the busy stage atmosphere. Even though they were surrounded by many people and thousands of fans, there were little moments when Jimin and Jungkook seemed completely immersed in their own conversation. However, one of the sweetest and most heartwarming moments of the night happened when Jungkook noticed that Jimin was shivering from the cold. Jungkook immediately noticed Jimin's condition and touched his arm, as if checking whether Jimin was actually feeling cold. With genuine concern, he asked, "Are you cold?" Jimin then explained that he really was feeling very cold, to the point that he had goosebumps. Jungkook's reaction was simple, but it felt incredibly warm. He gently rubbed Jimin's arm, a spontaneous gesture that showed he was genuinely paying attention to how his friend was feeling. But there was actually a funny yet touching story behind why Jimin was cold. Jungkook asked whether Jimin had given his clothes to someone else. Jimin then explained that earlier, there had been a young child who needed help, so Jimin had approached the child and given them his clothing. What made the moment even more special was Jungkook's expression as he listened to Jimin's story. He simply smiled while looking at Jimin with complete attention, as if enjoying every word Jimin was saying. There was no exaggerated reaction, but his smile and gaze were enough to make the moment feel incredibly warm. This is what makes their interactions feel so special, the way they care about each other without needing many words. Jungkook quickly noticing that Jimin was cold, Jimin sincerely helping a young child, and Jungkook smiling while listening to his story, all of these were simple little moments, yet they felt incredibly heartwarming. Sometimes, it isn't the biggest moments that touch us. It's these small acts of care that leave the deepest impression. The way they look after and care for each other is truly one of the sweetest things to witness. Jungkook's gaze toward Jimin once again caught everyone's attention. Jimin continued laughing and telling his story, while Jungkook smiled and listened carefully. There was something incredibly warm about their simple interaction. Jimin looked comfortable talking, while Jungkook seemed genuinely interested in every story Jimin shared with him. In another moment, Jimin and Jungkook were seen enjoying their time together beneath the Toronto sky. Jimin even turned toward Jungkook and sang without a microphone, almost as if he were singing that part of the song directly to him. Then came another sweet moment when they both pointed toward the moon. Jungkook pointed first, and Jimin followed. The small smiles on their faces made the scene feel even more special. In the middle of a huge concert with thousands of fans, they still had time to share their attention over something as simple as the moon in the night sky. From another angle, we could also see Jimin leaning against Jungkook. Jungkook didn't try to move away or shift Jimin. He simply let Jimin stay close, while Jimin appeared completely comfortable beside him. Once again, the two seemed as though they were enjoying their own little world. As the songs continued, their moments together became even sweeter. They repeatedly enjoyed the atmosphere together, moved closer to each other, smiled, and shared spontaneous interactions that seemed completely unplanned. There was even a funny moment when Jungkook took Jin's shoes and then immediately went over to Jimin to tell him about it. Jimin joined in as well, creating another small and entertaining interaction. As the concert came to an end, the atmosphere became warmer and more emotional as the members shared their messages with ARMY. Jimin expressed his concern about the windy and cold weather. He hoped everyone would take care of their health and wouldn't get sick after the concert. Jimin also expressed his hope that BTS and their fans would be able to meet again before too long, singing and dancing together just like they did that night. With heartfelt gratitude, BTS shared their love for Toronto and all the ARMY who had come to the concert. Jungkook also talked about how beautiful the atmosphere was that night and how special the concert had been. Even though the weather could change and the night was cold, one thing remained unchanged: the energy, love, and incredible memories created between BTS and their fans. BTS then closed the night with love and gratitude, along with the hope of returning again in the future. And of course, for JIKOOK fans, Toronto Day 2 left behind so many unforgettable little moments. Their glances, smiles, conversations, acts of care, and simple time together on stage once again became sweet memories that made this concert night even more special. Everyone may have a different favorite moment. Some may have smiled when Jungkook followed Jimin, others may have been entertained by their spontaneous interactions, while some may have been touched when Jungkook immediately noticed that Jimin was feeling cold. But one thing is certain: it is these small and spontaneous moments that make their interactions so enjoyable to watch. Nothing needs to be huge or dramatic. Sometimes, a simple glance, a smile, or a question like, "Are you cold?" is enough to make a moment truly memorable. And that wraps up our collection of sweet Jimin and Jungkook moments from BTS Toronto Day 2. Which JIKOOK moment made you smile the most during Toronto Day 2? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next JIKOOK moments. Thank you so much for watching and staying with JIKOOK moments until the end. See you again in the next video. Don't forget to keep supporting BTS, keep spreading love, and see you again on JIKOOK moments.